Hi guys, I'm so glad that you clicked on my video, and I realized that the last time I didn't introduce myself. My name's Lesedi and I'm just gonna be talking. So for question one, the question was, if you were to pass away tomorrow, would you be happy with the life you lived? And I was like, oh, okay. This is a pretty deep question, which is what I wanted. I wanted people to ask me deep questions, but honestly speaking, I think I would. Especially because I've changed a lot of the ways in which I used to live my life, and I'm finally choosing to live instead of survive. And even though it's been for such a short amount of time, I'm proud of myself for choosing that for me and choosing what's best for me in this short space of time. And so yeah, if I was to die tomorrow, I would really be content with the choices I've made, because it also then means that God has done what he needed to do in my life, and it was my time to leave. All right, question 2 says, how old were you when you wrote your first song? I really love this question, because if you didn't know, I am an aspiring artist who is yet to release a song, but I'm working on it. And my first song was written when I was 14. That was the first time I wrote anything on paper, because I would usually make songs, but I would forget about them. But the song is called Grounded, and it was a Christian elevation rhythm hill song, Planet Shakers inspired song. And I actually want to sing it because it was okay, so this is the melody. Boom 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 boom, hey, boom 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 boom. So that's the guitar, and the verse goes, I was hopeless without you. Boom, boom, boom. Then, Lord, you came into my... Maybe it was actually higher. It was higher than that. It was bum, 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 eh, bum, 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 bum. Yeah, and it was I was hopeless without you. There we go. Dum, bum. Then, Lord, you came into my life. You picked me up, then you set me apart. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know how to thank you. Chorus. Now I'm grounded, I'm set apart. Doom, doom. Boom, boom. Grounded, I'm set apart. Set apart. But that's how the song went. And then it was supposed to be a rap verse. So yeah. But I didn't finish it. That's as far as I went. But that was the first time I could realize that I can actually write something. But I didn't write anything again until I was 18. So yeah, that was the first song I wrote, and it's called Grounded. Maybe one day it'll be out, probably through, if I could get them, Planet Shakers or some youth Christian group. That would be really cool. And then I'll finish writing the song up for them. But yeah, so question 3 says, what is one life lesson you have learned that you will always carry with you? And I honestly would say that lesson is, you really can't change anyone. And I used to hate hearing that, because I love to advocate for growth and doing what's best for you and living your best peaceful, joyful life. But I've come to realize that not everyone wants to do that for themselves, even if they say they do. So realizing that I really cannot change a human being. The only person that can change someone is God. But that's also if they let God change them, because you have free will. So that's one lesson that I've learned in this life. That has been a really tough pill to swallow, but I'm still learning to swallow that pill. So yeah. And then question 4 says, how did you learn to love yourself? Honestly speaking, I think Jesus taught me how to do that, because if I didn't have the relationship that I have with him, I wouldn't have known who I am. I wouldn't have known my identity. I wouldn't have known that all the standards that human beings have are so low. They are literally chilling in hell compared to the standard that God has. And the mindset that he pushes for us human beings, that he stands for humanity, is so high. And so I think knowing where I stand and where I am, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and genuinely believing it, that I'm his craftsmanship, that everything about me is perfect, and no one can tell me anything, because you didn't create me, God did. So once I was able to identify my identity, you could not tell me nothing. And so that's how I learned to love myself, by just knowing what God says about me and sticking to that and that alone. Don't listen to nobody else. They don't know you. It doesn't matter if they've known you your whole life. They don't know you as much as God does. And Mandams is always speaking the truth about you in love. So listen to him. But basically that's how I learned self-love, by receiving the love of Christ for me and seeing what he says about me. And it sounds so like basic, but that's genuinely how it happened. I don't know how else. I can't give you advice outside of that, because there's nothing else that I can give that I feel like amounts to that level of advice. So yeah. Question 5 says, any tips on being less of a lukewarm Christian? Honey, I'm not gonna lie, this is a hard one for me, because sometimes I struggle with discernment, because I'm so focused on what other people think or say about me. Like, I mean, I bleached my brows and I got a tattoo not so long ago. And so I feel like stuff like that makes me feel like, oh my word, I'm not enough of a Christian, or oh my word, maybe I'm lukewarm because I've decided to do these things. But if you're not seeking the face of God, if you are straying away from him, that is going to get you closer to being lukewarm. Like Matthew 6 verse 33 says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all shall be added unto you. And so if you're doing that for the rest of your life, honey, you are good, okay? Don't let the devil get in your head and tell you that you're not doing enough, because at the end of the day, our relationship with Christ is not about what we do, but it's about what he's done for us and how we respond to that. So just remember that, because also when you seek his face, naturally, because of his grace, you're gonna want to not do certain things. All right, so question 6 says, what's a version of yourself you haven't met yet but are excited to become? And honestly speaking, I'm just excited to finally perform. Like, that's the person I'm excited to see. Like, I'm performing, I'm doing road trips, I am meeting my fans, I am just being the musical artist that I've always wanted to be. But there's been a lot of fear to become that, because I don't know what's gonna happen, you know? I don't know what my life is gonna become, but that's the version of myself I'm really excited to be. And I feel like I'm slowly but surely getting there. But yeah, like, that's all I can say about that person. I know she's gonna be confident. I know she isn't gonna be afraid to do anything challenging as an artist, but also as a person, because to be a really successful artist, you have to have gone through so much resilience, so much dedication, because you could spend 10 years like Victoria Monet just working your butt off to get somewhere, and that requires a lot of dedication and growth and tears. And I just can't wait for who I am going to be once I've gotten to where I want to be as an artist. That for me is exciting. So yeah. Question 7 says, despite growing up as a Christian, what brought you closer to God? Persecution, struggling, honestly, suffering, let me rather say. That for me brought me closer to God. Suffering mentally brought me closer to God, because I realized, like, people are just not going to do it for me. Like, they're not. No shade to the people who have been in my life or are in my life, but y'all ain't enough for me. And no human being, no partner, no nothing, not even my kids in the future are going to be enough for me. And so once I realized that, I was like, oh, I need you. And plus, I also realized, like, when I was in those low points mentally, when I ran to God, I always found comfort. I always found some form of healing. Like, there was just always some form of improvement. And that's what really brought me closer to him. It wasn't going to church on Sundays. It wasn't, oh, I really like this worship song. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, he reached me in ways that other people never could and still can't do. And I was just like, my word, like, where have you been? Are you sure you've been here like the whole time? Because what? Like, you eating this up. Like, he's just really doing what I've been needing to see in my life and filling up voids in me that needed to be filled. And I didn't really know they could be, but I was just like, look, I just want to trust you and see what you could do. So help a sister out, but he really did. He really helped me out. And I'm so grateful for that. Question 8 says, do you trust the knowledge or wisdom of elders? And I think this one is a bit tricky, because I think we all sort of know that maturity doesn't always equate age, but it doesn't mean that because someone is mature in age, they aren't wise and they don't have anything to say. And so I would say it goes back to having discernment and wisdom, which is something you can get from God. First, ask him if you can trust that elder to hear what they have to say. That's what I would say. So I wouldn't say don't trust anything an elder says, but I would also say discern, man. Not every elder, like, sometimes I'll go on TikTok and there's this old lady speaking and I'm just like, hi man, the stuff he's saying is very ungodly. Like, it's not giving what it needs to give at all. And this person is old, in their 60s, 70s, and it's just like, I don't agree with this. And that's because that person isn't wise in that department of life, right? Just because you've experienced a lot, it doesn't always mean that you have the wisdom to say something about a certain situation. So that's my advice when it comes to elderly people. Respect them, please. Respect your elders, it's so important. But respect doesn't always mean that you have to be disrespected to show them that you honor them. You are still allowed to say, hey, like, I don't agree with what you're saying there. That is very disrespectful, very rude, because there are old people that can be very rude to young people for no reason at all. And you're allowed to say that. Sure, allowed to say it. And it's fine if they think you're being rebellious. It's fine. I've realized, like, some old people just don't like to hear the truth or to be held accountable, especially if you're younger, because they're just like, who do you think you are? I've lived for so many years, and that's just a pride thing. But it just goes back to discernment and wisdom. And in order to get those two, go to Jesus. Read Proverbs. Talks a lot about wisdom, by the way. It'll help you a lot with making wise decisions. All right. Then question 9 says, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to go through? And honestly speaking, I would say, like, it's quite tough. I've gone through some hard things in life. But I would say grade 9 was probably the hardest time for me, because that was the first time I really felt betrayed. Like, I'm used to people making promises and disappointing me or whatever, but I'm not really used to a group of people not having my back, and that for me destroyed me, especially because I was the kid who fought for people. Like, if I didn't like what someone was saying, I will vouch and fight for you because I love you, right? But that same energy was not brought back to me, and to this day it still sits in my head, and I'm trying to let go of that and be like, God, whatever it is that you wanted to teach me in that situation, can I please learn it so I can move on from this? But that for me was really tough because I started spiraling, if I'm being honest. That was the first time. I was always a happy kid, but that was the first time in my life I was sad for long periods of time. I wanted to cry like 6-7 times in a day. Like, I was just an emotional wreck. And I think what made matters worse was that no one was like really trying to understand why I was the way that I was. Like, I really felt misunderstood, and it sucked, but it had to happen, and I know that it had to happen. And I know the reason why it also had to happen, which I'm really grateful about. But I think I still don't understand like why I had to go through it. I know it doesn't really make sense because it's like, I know that pain and suffering results in growth, but it's like, okay, God, what are you trying to make me grow in? That's what I'm trying to still understand about this whole situation. Like, what was I supposed to grow in this situation? I understand why pain and suffering happens, but what's the result of this pain and suffering? What are you trying to develop? So that's something that I'm still trying to understand. All right. The next question is question 10, and it says, are you okay, like in every aspect of life, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual? And honestly, yes, I am. I'm honestly like in the best place that I've been in a very long time, which is quite crazy to say. But I think, you leave high school and then you're out for a few years and you're like starting to look at how like high school and primary school was and how your mentality was back then versus now as the years have passed, and it's just like, goodness, I'm really happy and I'm content and I'm free, man. Like, it just feels so good to be in this place, and I'm just grateful to God for being where I am right now, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Like, I genuinely wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for him, and just constantly reminding me of who he is, that life is gonna get better, and it really does. And so, yeah, life is amazing. It really is. As much as it's not the way that I expected it to be, it's really good, which I'm so grateful for. Question 11. This one's gonna be a bit touchy. Just like, brace yourself, okay? But it says, could the absence of a father have any effect on your dating life? Now, if you watched my first video, the absence of a father did have quite a bit of an effect on why I made the choices that I made growing up, and why I chose the kind of guys that I chose growing up. But he doesn't take all the blame. Like, I also could have made better choices, and at the end of the day, I'm the one who is making the choices, but it really does. And it's just not about him being absent physically. Could be him being absent emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually. And I think that's why I want to work so hard in making sure that I'm content. Like, I see God as my Abba, my Father. He's making up for the areas in which my father didn't, so that I'm not choosing someone who's not going to be the appropriate father for my children and the appropriate husband for me as well, because that happens a lot. You see it a lot. Like, people just choose people that are like their fathers, and then end up wondering why they have the worst husband, and he literally just resembles every aspect of their father. And so yeah, I think it's really important to fix that issue in your life, because if you don't, you'll end up making very bad decisions. Like, I've realized when you make decisions from an insecure place, they tend to be very irrational decisions, very desperate decisions, and decisions that need some form of validation. Like, you're not coming from a place where you're secure. So I definitely want to be fully secure by the time that I get married. And you could actually walk into a marriage that way and then end up being with a partner that takes that away from you. So it's also making the right decision and making sure that that partner is, but of course people are unpredictable, but still make sure that that partner is chef's kiss, represents Jesus, perfect for you, perfectly imperfect, but he's the right person for you. Anyway, question 12. So it says, what advice do you give other people that you don't follow yourself? So honestly speaking, I think I've given a lot of advice that I don't follow myself, but that just has to do with me struggling to execute whatever it is. So I might just be like, girl, work on some self-love. Come on, baby, I know you can do it. But I'm also struggling with that. And I think in moments like that, it's important to be like honest with that person and be like, look, I might be giving you this advice, but I also just really suck at it. And I think that's why I always make sure that the advice that I give is biblical, because the Bible is the word of God, and the thing about God is that he's not a hypocrite, but we sure as hell are. So I think what I need to start saying is like, look, I might be giving you this advice, but I might not be executing it that well or even at all right now, but please take it. So I need to give an example because that's what that question was about, but I did want to put that in. An example would literally be, like I said, the whole self-love situation, or telling someone like, leave that man. That man is not it. Come on, man, like you can do this. But like I found myself in situations where I just really wanted this person to want me, and I couldn't leave that idea alone. So I really was not taking my advice back in the days, but I'm doing a better job, and thank you, Jesus, because the things we do sometimes is just really scary. Anyway, next question is question 13, and it says, do you feel like one can ever achieve a sense of complete self-fulfillment? This question, this one really had me thinking. I know I've been saying that, but this one I was like, how am I gonna answer this? Right now, in this moment, I am fulfilled. Like you can't even, I'm so fulfilled, it's not even funny. But I have had moments where I wasn't. So I think it's achievable, but I think that there are moments where it feels unattainable. That's what I wanted to say. Like, it's not gonna be every single day for the rest of your lives. Maybe it is for some people, but that hasn't been the case for me. So just like you have your highs and your lows, I think you also have your highs and your lows when it comes to feeling a sense of self-fulfillment, right? There are moments where you're not fulfilled. Contentment is not your name. You're just like, no, like, God, what is this? I don't like this life. I don't like that this is happening, yada 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 yada. But I genuinely believe that fulfillment is attainable. I am fulfilled right now. Okay, in this moment I can proudly say that I am fulfilled, so I know that it's attainable. All the time though, it can be accessed, but it just depends on your mindset and where you are. So if, for me, like, I'm not fixing my eyes on Jesus, I tend to not be fulfilled. But every time I seek his face, I look at Jesus, I look up to him, then I'm like, I'm great, I'm fulfilled, perfect. So that's basically what I'm trying to say about this whole situation. All right, question 14 says, what would you say was your biggest transition in terms of womanhood? I like this question. I don't think about being a woman a lot. And I like this question because it made me think like about womanhood and what it entails and how amazing it is. But I would literally say when I started my period, that was like the first thing I thought when I first saw this question, and it was the only way that I could answer this question. But I feel like that's a dumb answer, so I'm just gonna say there was something else that I was thinking of. But when I realized that me being a woman isn't about my body shape. Yes, I'm African and I'm slender, but I'm still a woman, right? But not only just about me, my body shape, I realized that it's so much more than just me being an object, a muse, a subject of lust for a man, you know. That's genuinely when I feel like I transitioned into what womanhood actually is, or into womanhood, because before that my mindset was not there. It was fully focused on my body, what I can give, babies, this, that, you know, and it wasn't focused on who I am as a being, you know, as a female being. It was just focused on what I have. So I feel like that for me was the biggest transition into womanhood and what womanhood actually is. All right, and then question 15 says, what are you most excited about in your life right now? And I could just say living it. Literally just living my life. That's what I'm excited about. Being present. Trying out new things really excites me, or trying out things that I haven't done in a very long time. So all of that just entails living. So yeah. Question 16 says, does not being in a relationship hurt? At the moment, no, because I don't want to get married. Once upon a time I wanted to be married next year at 23 years of age, and I'm so glad that that's not the case anymore. So if I was still in that mindset, probably would hurt. But no. Right now, in this moment, does not hurt at all. Question 17 says, what song or songs made you feel understood in a way that words couldn't? The first one is from Nina Simone. I think it's called Misunderstood. But it goes, 'cause I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. I used to sing that song a lot when I was 16 because like I really felt misunderstood at that time. But that song to this day has been like printed, stamped onto my heart, because I really do still have moments where I feel misunderstood, but that's a song that stuck with me for a very long time. And then I would also say What Was I Made For, Billie Eilish. Man, that song came around when I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. I didn't know if the things that I wanted to do were worth doing, you know. And it's just like, the part that hits me is probably the part that everyone knows, but it's like, when did it end? All the enjoyment, I'm sad again. Don't tell my boyfriend, it's not what he's made for. So what was I made for? And then, cause I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try. And then it's, I don't know how to feel, but someday I might. But someday I might. And today is that someday. It's so funny. Oh, hi. Pardon? Oh, thank you. There's cute little kids watching me sing. Anyway, so I'm just glad that like I finally get there. I think it's so funny, like when you listen to those songs in the moment, you're just like, man, this might just be like the rest of my life, just me constantly asking what was I made for, because at that time I didn't know. I was just like, so I'm just gonna exist in my room and rot in my bed. Is that what's gonna happen? Because I didn't expect that for myself. But yeah, this was like 2 years ago. That song was from 2 years ago. And then The Misunderstood was when I was 16. And then I would also say Dad's song, which is so funny because I listened to that song after I'd listened to What Was I Made For. And that song is just about existing. The chorus is like, you are made to be loved by me. You were made to be loved by me. And that's basically God speaking to me and saying, baby, I just made you so I can love you, you know? But those songs, chef's kiss, you understand? But those are, I've realized, songs that really come in moments of my life where I'm not okay, are songs that impact me a lot. But those 3 songs plus Defender, maybe I'm just gonna like, you know, there's a lot of songs plus Defender from Stephanie Gritzinger, but the bridge, when I thought I lost me, you knew where I left me, you reintroduced me to your love. Favorite parts, you picked up all my pieces, put me back together, you were the defender of my heart. And I think it's so funny because What Was I Made For, Dad's song, and Defender roundabouts the same time. I've always loved Defender from the first time I heard it, but like in that moment, like 2 years ago, I needed that song, and it was like a big fat kiss and a hug for me. But yeah, that is it. Those are the songs that really made me feel understood, because I was like, wow, there's someone out there, or there are people out there that have made songs that resonate with what I'm going through. And I feel like a lot of people don't get what I'm going through, because when I explain it, they're just like, yeah, you know, it'll get better. And it's like, they can't relate, but they're just like trying to, I'm sorry, like, it'll get better, I promise. And it's just like, no. I need you to know the feeling, you know? But these songs just expressed that. And I can talk about music all day, and I can go on a tangent with this question, but like those songs, those 4 songs, chef's kiss. Anyway, question 18 says, how has your spiritual journey deepened your understanding of who God is? I would say because of pain and suffering and trials, I've gone to seek his face, and actively choosing to seek his face through suffering has been the result of a deeper relationship, Jesus being revealed to me more, just understanding who I am, understanding why some things, I don't have answers to everything, but some things have happened in my life, you know, but it's enough, you know, God answers enough for me to be like, okay, I'll still carry on with this journey, and I'm not going to give up on my life. So I would say, like, a mix of pain and suffering, with running to the Father, with finding joy and peace in his comfort and his love, are the results of my relationship being deepened. Like him actually never leaving my side when I'm going through struggles. Because I'm not saying I don't need Jesus, but like when life is great, it's very easy to not always feel like I need a hug and a kiss from him, a figurative hug and kiss. But when it's really tough, I'm just like, people aren't gonna do it. I know they're not. And my friends in the past have really tried, but this is for you. You're gonna have to, I just know that I have to only go to you, because you're only gonna be the one that's gonna be able to help me through this. So situations like that have really deepened my relationship, and I'm so like trusting of him and so comfortable with like just telling him about everything, really, all my struggles, even the good stuff, the exciting stuff, the things that I want to do. I have like this relationship with him, and it's because he was there for me when I needed help and I needed to be seen and understood the most. So yeah. And so basically all these things that I have explained and I've gone through, and the way I've seen God reach out to me, has resulted in a deeper understanding of him. And I really had to go through the pain and suffering to actually know who this person is in my life, and it not feel like he's just some foreign God that is so far away. And yeah, he cares about me because it says so in the Bible, but like I haven't experienced that. So I've had to really go through the good, the bad, the ugly, like I've explained, to understand God. So in order for you to have that deeper knowledge of God and know him more, deepen your relationship with him more, just basically experience life with him. All the suffering, all the things that you go through, whatever it is, the good, the bad, the ugly, involve him, bring him in, because that's how you deepen your understanding of God. Hope that I answered that question appropriately. All right. Question 19 says, at your lowest time in life, how, what, and who helped you out of it? Jesus. Ha! Jesus. No, seriously, because it was him who brought people into my life to remind me about him and how he still cares for me. And it was him that comforted me. Sorry, I'm just waiting for this truck to pass. It was him that comforted me during the lowest times, when I was just crying in my room on my own. And my mom is she's in the other room just chilling, having a good time, not knowing that I'm crying. But like, seriously speaking, it was him. And I don't know why I'm laughing about that, because that's not funny, but it kind of is. If you think about it, it actually is kind of funny. But no, seriously, like, I could just cry to him and poof, everything just gets sorted. Maybe not in the way that I would have wanted it to, but it really just works out eventually. So Jesus is the answer. Been talking about Jesus a lot here, but it's because where would I be without him, All right. Question 20 says, if you could know your future to the minute detail, would you want to know, but once you learn it, you would not change a single thing? No, honey, I'm good. I've already spent so much of my life not knowing anything about anything. Like, there's so many things that I've prayed for that haven't happened, and I predicted, I was like, they'll probably happen, when I'm like 21, I'm gonna be this, when I'm, and none of that has happened. And what I've realized is that like life is really unpredictable, but that's really fun. That's the fun thing about life, is like it could go anyway. Like it could just be whatever, it doesn't have to be the way that you want it to be. So I wouldn't want to know about my future, because I haven't known about much of my life or what could happen basically my whole life. Everything has just been, oh, well, there's something new. Oh, there's another thing that's new, you know? And I kind of like that element of surprise, like, you know? And I also like the fact that if I fall, like, for example, if I do choose to want to know what my future entails, I wouldn't be able to change it, which I don't like, because now I could make whatever decision, and if I happen to fall, I can change that. It's like, oh, I'm 30, I still live with my mom, I don't have a car, I don't have a job, but that could change. Like, I can change that, which is really cool, you know? Whereas this whole thing, I can't change anything, that must be my life for the rest of my life. No. Then where's the free will in that, you know? Anyway, these next two questions are going to be more like chill than fun. Question 21 says, do you have kids? No, guys, like, I don't have children. Pregnancy scares me. When I see pregnant women, I freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, that just looks so, wow, goodness, I'm so good, you know? But I still want to be like a mother one day. Not now, please. I'm not trying to get married now. I'm not trying to have kids now. I don't want to see that right now. Do you understand? Anyway, question 22 says, which is the last one. It's the last question, but it says, if you could run at super speed, but only when your eyes were closed, what would you do with your newfound powers? I said I would be a 400-meter athlete. Do you understand? Because that's what I wanted to be. I would be a 400-meter athlete. No, for real. And it would just be like really cool. Like running with my eyes closed. That would be so cool. But I don't know how that would work. Like, you know, like I was thinking, but like, wouldn't I like hit stuff because my eyes are closed? Or like, would I somehow still be able to see, but I'm running at super power speed? You know, I don't think about it too much, you know. But yeah, I would be a 400-meter athlete. Get that world record that still hasn't been beat to this day. And then retire. Yeah, retire. Get a cute little sponsorship from, I don't know, Nike, Adidas, whatever. Do other things. But that's what I would be. 400-meter athlete. All right. Guys, thank you so much for making it this far. I really appreciate it. I also just want to thank everyone who wished me a happy birthday. 22 felt really special. It feels special already. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this new chapter. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. Yeah. But I'm glad that I did this video. It was a lot more chilled, a lot more fun. You guys get to see a bit of my personality. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And I try to make these as authentic as possible with like minimal editing. So I really hope that you enjoyed who I am. If not, it's okay. I mean, it's all right. It's a little heartbreaking. No, it's not. I'll be fine. But, you know, it's fine if I'm not your cup of tea, which is actually quite bonkers if you ask me, because like, why would you not want me to be a cup of your tea? Okay? Anyway, thank you so much. I love you guys. You can go ahead, say what you want to say in the comment section. Enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, whatever time you're watching this. Thank you so much.